Let's have a go at this exam style question, which is looking at patterns of inheritance. The question says, Figure 2 shows a pedigree chart for a family who have a child with the genetic disorder cystic fibrosis. And part B says, cystic fibrosis is a recessive condition. The dominant allele can be written as big F and the recessive allele as little f. Draw a Punnett square to show how it is possible for Astra and Claude to have children with and without cystic fibrosis. Now the command word here is the word draw. So we know that we're being asked to draw a Punnett square to show how it was possible for the couple to have children with and without cystic fibrosis. What other important information does the question provide? Well, let's go back to the introduction to question 2, where we have a pedigree chart and key. And from this, we can see that Claude and Astra do not have cystic fibrosis, and yet some of their children do. Tracy does, and so does Tristan, and I know that because the key shows that the darker grey square and circle are those that have cystic fibrosis. So we know that Claude and Astra do not have it, and yet some of their children have it, and from that fact we know that they must be carriers of the cystic fibrosis gene. So their genotypes must be big F, little f, and we can actually write it on here. Okay, and I know that I need to write the genotype like that because this part of the question says the dominant allele is written as big F and the recessive allele is written as a little f. And we're also told at the start of part B that cystic fibrosis is a recessive condition. So that tells us that to actually have cystic fibrosis, you would need to inherit the cystic fibrosis allele from both parents. So actually to have cystic fibrosis, you would need to have this genotype here. Okay, so let's start putting together a Punnett square. So a really good way of starting is drawing your grid lines. Okay, so I'm going to put over here the genotype for Claude, and then over here I'll put the genotype for Astra. So we know that Claude and Astra both have the same genotype, so it's a big F and then a little f. Astra's the same, big F and the little f. So now we just need to complete the Punnett square. So this offspring would be big F, big F. This one would be big F, little f. This one would be big F, little f. And this one would be little f, little f. So these are the possible alleles of the offspring, and we can see that this one here is homozygous recessive. So this would be an offspring with cystic fibrosis. Now the question is only asking for you to draw the Punnett square, so that's all you need to show. You don't need to identify which one has cystic fibrosis. So in this question you get 1 mark for the correct genotype of the parents, which is what we've put in here and down here, and the other mark would be for the correct genotype of the offspring, which is what we've got in each of the 4 boxes there. And that's your 2 marks.